Okay, so there's one important thing that everyone needs to remember and build their lives around. Build your purpose around it. This should inform how you treat other people, the big decisions you make in life, and really basically everything else from there you can extrapolate. And this one thing, you know what it is. It's everything that matters doesn't matter as much as Padre. If you're a teenage girl and you might be tortured or forced to be a bargaining chip that might give away the location of Padre, it's better to kill yourself, according to Fear the Walking Dead, than to live. And if you're a young, 8-year-old girl who happened to see a lighthouse in the vicinity of Padre, and you lie to Madison, well, I'm sorry, but you have to die. You have to be tied to a tree by Madison and Daniel and left for the zombies while screaming and crying. And that is the kind of episode we got with tonight's Fear the Walking Dead. The last few episodes, I don't know how they keep making it worse, but the last few episodes of this show have been so incredibly awful. I haven't made a video about them in a while, but we had the episode where Charlie shoots herself in the head, which I found extraordinarily offensive. We had the Sanctuary episode where Sherry and June and Sherry, where they go and find Dwight, and then Dwight and June and Sherry, and the Sanctuary collapses. There's another bad villain group living in the Sanctuary, because where else would they live? I mean, it literally says in a big sign, villain headquarters. You gotta live there if you're a villain. Doesn't matter that the kingdom and Alexandria are right there, presumably, monitoring villain activity in the area. This episode it's like a greatest hits of all the shitty things that the Fear the Walking Dead creators have done over the years. Constant teleportation, no sense of geography, people just showing up in the nick of time at the randomest places, finding each other. Like, there's a scene where they're so somehow Strand has taken over Padre right away, and when June and Sherry show up, they demand Tracy back. Tracy's Troy's daughter, and we don't know how they know he's got her, but they know he's got her, Troy's daughter. And then they say that they'll take her and Strand and give him over to Troy, and that'll appease him. I don't know why that would appease him, but that's their logic. Fear the Walking Dead logic. And then they're taking a boat, and they're walkie-talkieing for Troy. He'll pick up. And then, so that they can't trade her, Strand rips her blindfold off and is like, "See that lighthouse? Now you know where Padre is," even though they're clearly not anywhere near Padre anymore. And so she jumps overboard with her hands tied and swims to shore. I don't know, maybe she's just a really good swimmer, but it's really hard to swim without your arms. I've never tried to swim with my hands actually tied. That sounds horrible. Strand jumps in after her, and then he saves her, and I'm thinking, why do we need to have another little kid in this show? It's literally since season 4 with Charlie, every single season, they've added kids. There's the kid, like the Lost Boys or whatever at the nuclear power plant in season 5. There's in season 6, we've got Virginia's daughter, and then of course Grace's miscarried baby, and then the baby that they get from the dead lady. Then season 7, lot of baby crying, so much crying baby in the nuclear apocalypse submarine in Texas. And then in season 8, of course, Padre is just all about kids. That's what they do. They kidnap kids, and we've got to protect Padre. Ain't nothing more important than Padre, except for maybe one thing. Alicia. Throughout this episode, we also get a lot of Alicia stuff. Alicia, we meet some of her followers. Apparently, she went back to the tower, Strand's tower, and went into the burning building to get fuel, which is abundant everywhere else. But Alicia went into the burning building with the radioactive shit and got fuel out, and then drove the people there. Mind you, there were no people left there, but she went back and found people who had shown up and were standing by the building for some reason, and then drove them away. And now she's got like these 3 chicks driving around in Al's SWAT van, and like they show up in the nick of time to save Strand, and then they're talking all about how Alicia's done this and Alicia's done that. It was pretty funny too, because there's like the black chick who's like dressed like Alicia, and then there's the Asian chick and the white chick, and all I could think was Charlie's Angels, and so then I decided that they're Strand's Angels, because then he like is driving around with them. They show up to save the little girl from Madison and Daniel, who were going to kill her because she saw a lighthouse, and clearly that's enough of a reason to kill a child. I think they're setting up Madison to be like the big villain at the end of this, but it's just so poorly done. So yeah, you got a big Mexican standoff. We've had one in about every episode of season 8, where one group will be walking up with guns, and then another group walks up with guns, and this time there's a third group that walked up with guns, which happened a couple other times this season. And of course they actually shoot at each other, but it all happens off screen. There are too many things about this episode to list or to remember that are just ghastly, just astonishingly stupid. I honestly do not understand how they keep getting worse every week. Like, how do you do that, guys? This isn't how people talk. This isn't how people make moral decisions. This isn't how old friends reunite. The whole, I hope every single German-speaking person on the show dies a fiery death, because it's just so obnoxious to suddenly have Strand speaking German randomly. And how did the kids at Padre, they're just all cool. They're like, oh, cool, these new people just showed up. And how did they get there before June and stuff? Like, and why is the girl saying that like, she thinks Alicia died in Fort Worth? Like, Fort Worth is 1,000 miles away from where they are. How do the showrunners, have they never looked at a fucking map of the United States of America? Texas and Georgia, yeah, they're both south, but there are other states in between. And Texas by itself is huge. Georgia's no slouch. I mean, this is a vast distance to travel in a zombie apocalypse. Geography means nothing. Human emotion means nothing. Every single dialogue is both maudlin and wooden maudlin. So overacted, melodramatic, and also very flat and just boring. They've finally given Luciana a spine again, but it makes no sense. Her character makes no sense. She's got a really pretty badass army of dudes. Why is she so afraid of Troy? Well, it turns out that even with him and his like 8 guys, they get the better hand. I don't know how, because they didn't show it. These Mexican standoffs are absolutely preposterous. In real life, if you were approaching an enemy force, and I'm no soldier, don't get me wrong, but if I had a gun and my team, my squad had guns, and there was some guys over there standing there with guns, we wouldn't just walk up to them. We wouldn't just pop out of the forest like, hello, here we are with guns, put yours down, won't you please? Like, maybe surround them? Maybe, like, use a little tactical something or other? I don't know. Beyond that, I don't know. What else is... This is just absolute dreck. Next weekend is the last weekend. It's a double episode. We get to sit through twice as much of this shit. And then it will be over. I don't know. What am I going to do? I've gotten so used to... hating this show. Where can I direct my hate now? Inward, I suppose. I mean, what else are you going to do? Anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this episode if you watched it in the comments. And thanks for liking, subscribing, hitting the notification bell, and peace.